Probably the most common statement I hear as an eating psychology coach is, I know what to do, I'm just not doing it. And I totally understand how frustrating it is to know what you want to be doing, but not being able to follow through on your promises on a consistent basis. In this video, I want to explain the 5 things you need to start being consistent today. I'm Lori Montry, a trauma-informed eating psychology coach. I've blended together a unique and powerful set of tools and practices to help you stop emotional eating, binge eating, and chronic dieting, and find food and body freedom. In addition to my wall of certifications, I have 30 years of experience with my own struggle with emotional eating. I know how difficult it can be, and I am dedicated to helping as many people as possible take control of their relationship with food and get free. If you want to learn more about what it takes to end emotional and binge eating, download my free resources using the link just below this video. So I want to start this conversation by saying, stop beating yourself up for not being consistent. There are good reasons why you struggle and why sticking with things is hard. Rather than just beating yourself up and trying harder with the same things that aren't working, I invite you to step back and see what's really going on and what you need to be successful. Here's the 5 things that you need to achieve consistency. Number 1 is capacity. In my Freedom from Emotional Eating course, I teach a lot on the concept of capacity. Capacity is your ability to take things on. It's your energy and the amount of gas in your tank. Bottom line is, if you don't have capacity, you aren't going to stick with your plans. You're not going to use the tools and practices you have, no matter how good or how helpful they are. When I first started coaching and teaching, I found that there were 2 groups of people, right? There were those that were implementing the tools and they started seeing immediate change, transformation. And then there was the other group that said, I can't seem to make myself use the tools consistently. No one was saying I'm using the tools and practices, but they aren't working for me. Those that weren't able to implement the tools, they wanted change. They had the best intentions ever, but they were stuck in that dreaded place of, I know what to do, I'm just not doing it. They assumed that they were lazy, that they were broken, that they didn't have what it takes. But I knew that couldn't be true. So I set about trying to figure out what was making it so challenging for this group to use those tools. And that's when I dove even deeper into the world of trauma, accumulated stress, and nervous system dysregulation. And I learned that our nervous system, when they're stuck in high alert from traumas and accumulated stress, we have no capacity. Systems that are overwhelmed don't change. Without capacity, it doesn't matter how much you want something or how badly you're hurting. It's like trying to get water from a dry well. And this is why all of the work I do with people, all of my programs start by working with the nervous system to build capacity before anything else. And this is a total game changer for anyone who says, I know what to do, I'm just not doing it. Capacity is key. Number 2, the second thing that you need is to work with your rebel parts. There are parts of us that are so sick and tired of being restricted and yelled at and regimented. These parts are very concerned about all those times in the past when you tried those diets and regimens that didn't suit you, and they don't want any part of that again. So they are rebellious when it comes to trying to do things consistently. But by working with these parts through the internal family system or the IFS model of interpersonal work, you can learn to compromise with the parts, find real solutions, and then start taking action that feels aligned with who you really are. The third thing you need to be consistent is an underlying belief system that matches who you want to become. Now, it's a well understood principle of neuroscience that your thoughts lead to your emotions, which in turn lead to your behavior. So, for example, if you want to become someone who eats and moves in ways that bring health and vitality, you have to possess the thoughts of someone who eats and moves in these ways. I used to believe I was a glutton who would always have to battle and control myself with food for the rest of my life. As long as those were my thoughts, that was my reality. Henry Ford famously said, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. If you believe you're too old to achieve health and fitness, you are. If you believe that planning and prepping your food is just too hard, it is. If you believe that it's too complicated to learn how to nourish your body, it is. If you believe things don't work out for you, they don't. So whatever you believe to be true, it creates your emotional state, or you could say your energy towards something, and we will always act consistently with our thoughts, emotions, and energy. Once in a while, you might harness your willpower to act differently, but by and large, you're going to act as you believe. If you believe you're destined to be overweight or out of shape, you're going to assume that's going to be the case no matter what. And what does a person who's destined to be overweight do? I know what they don't do. They don't stick with healthy food choices. They don't stay committed to a workout program, that's for sure. It's pointless, really, to set about changing your behavior if your underlying operating system isn't aligned with the behavior that you want to adopt. Now, the fourth thing you need to be consistent is a bite-sized approach. Now, I can give you all the best information in the world, but if you can't assimilate it, that information is basically useless to you. I know that I have to offer information and integration work in a way that you can actually take in. And this allows for consistency. Consistency is not trying harder. It's about the strategy behind making change and the neuroscience of creating new neurological pathways that support the behavior you want to take. We very often fail to be consistent because we're operating from that all or nothing mindset and setting ourselves up with plans that are doomed to fail. Now, let's be honest with each other here. How many of you, besides me, have tried to change your habits by jumping in 100% all on day one? Go something like this. Okay, on Monday, I'm going to only drink smoothies. I'm going to get my mail forwarded to the gym because that's where I'm going to spend most of my time. Anyone else ever done anything like that? What I have learned from my own experience and from working with my clients and the volumes of research on behavior change is that this is an ineffective approach. It backfires nearly every single time. It leads to feelings of failure and despair. Jumping all in on day one, it's just a form of all or nothing thinking, which has led to yo-yo dieting and similar behaviors. Trying to do too much all at once causes overwhelm, and it creates a negative response from the brain that we refer to as resistance. And the habit building and changing module that I teach is a 5-step, 7-day system for setting meaningful but small steps that bring result. This system is the most effective way to create change, be consistent without all the overwhelm and resistance that has led to failure time and time again. Here's why this ladder approach works so well. So imagine you are here on the ground and the place you want to get to is way up here, say 20 feet in the air, which is totally fine, right? I know you're in a hurry to get all the way up to the top, but here's generally what happens. You keep jumping up, trying to get to the top or even halfway up. And the fact is, it's just too high to jump. Then you get tired of jumping, you feel defeated, you give up until next time, the next time that you just can't take it anymore and decide to try again. Come on, you know exactly what I mean, and I certainly do. I did this for decades. But rather than trying to jump 20 feet in the air from the ground to the top of the ladder, which is never going to work, what if you built a ladder rung by rung? This is the fastest and easiest, most aligned way to create change. Meeting your ladder rungs, right? Stepping up on that next rung, it's such a big high five for your mindset and your emotional state. I mean, nothing says you're an amazing winner, rock star, like realizing that you've hit your weekly goals again and again. Now, the 5th thing that you need for consistency is support. When you have the support you need, you have the motivation, the guidance, and the community. And these things have a huge impact on your ability to be consistent. When you have a place to show up, to be seen, heard, supported, you take action, right? And there's an abundant research showing us that people in groups and with support succeed far and away better than those who try to go it alone. Having a place where you can share your reflections, where you can get support, brainstorm solutions or disappointments, makes you want to be consistent. The support was absolutely key for me. I spent so much of my time knowing, wanting, craving support without giving it to myself. I would go so far as to sign up for discovery calls but I always talked myself out of taking action because I didn't think I was worth the money or the support. I thought I should be able to do this on my own. I was afraid I would fail or maybe uncover parts of me or emotions that I couldn't handle. But once I did open myself to support, everything changed. I had already developed a lot of tools for myself, and combined with the loving place to get support and get honest with my struggles, things happened at lightning speed. Now, the one piece of advice I give people about taking the plunge to receive support is don't make the decision about whether to get support or not from your current self. Let the self that you're ready to become make that decision. That's what someone once said to me. And when I put that self in charge, the decision was absolutely clear. There was no question I was ready. and worth the investment of time, money, and energy. So there you have it, the 5 things you need to develop consistency. Don't forget to download my free resources to learn more about the comprehensive solution to food and body freedom. And please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. It helps me get content in your hands and in the hands of others looking for food and body freedom. Thanks for spending time with me.